The moon was sinking behind the distant ridgeline when Eli McGrath slipped off his horse and fell to his knees in the snow. His chest burned with fever, every breath slicing through him like a knife. He knew he didn't have much time left. Infection from the bullet wound had traveled deep, and without the last vial of medicine in his saddlebag, he'd be dead before sunrise. But he never expected he'd give that medicine away, because only a few feet ahead of him, half buried in a drift of winter dust, lay a young native man, barely 20, shivering violently, blood staining his torn buckskin shirt. Eli's hand froze when he realized the kid was still alive, and with that single realization, Eli's destiny changed. He dragged himself to the young man's side, fighting waves of dizziness. "Easy, son," Eli whispered, though he wasn't. Sure the boy understood English, you hold on. The young man's eyes fluttered open, dark, terrified, and filled with pain. He whispered something in his own tongue, voice trembling like a leaf. Eli looked toward the horizon. No ranch houses, no towns, no chance of help. Only one of them was going to make it. His trembling hands reached into his saddlebag. There it was, the vial, the only thing keeping him from death. His doctor in Laramie had told him to guard it with his life, but when the young man gasped again, Eli saw something in his eyes: fear, yes, but also a deep, pleading hope. He thought of his own son, long buried from sickness years ago. Eli had sat helpless then, watching the boy slip from his hands. Couldn't do it again. Eli uncorked the medicine. "Reckon your life's worth just as much as mine." The young man coughed, barely conscious, as Eli eased the liquid between his cracked lips. The boy swallowed weakly. And just like that, Eli surrendered his only chance to live. By the time Eli collapsed beside him, both of them drifting into unconsciousness, the storm clouds had swallowed the sky. The next morning Eli woke to the sound of voices, soft at first, strange. Rhythmic, he was surrounded. Tall figures with painted faces and fur-lined cloaks stood over him. Warriors, their bows drawn, their stance tense. The young man he had saved, now awake, weak but standing, was speaking to them quickly. Urgently, Eli tried to sit up but fell back with a groan. His fever had sharpened, stabbing through him. He fully expected the tribe to leave him or finish him, but instead, one of the warriors knelt and inspected Eli's wound. Another fetched water. Others lifted him gently. Eli was too weak to fight, too tired to question. They carried him to their winter camp. The place was silent except for the crackle of fires and the soft chanting of elders. Smoke curled into the sky. Children peeked from behind hides. Women moved quickly with bowls of herbs, pelts, and warm blankets. The young man he had saved approached him. He placed a hand on Eli's shoulder and said in broken English, "You give life, my life. Now we give you ours." Eli didn't understand, but the tribe did something no one outside their people ever spoke of. They gathered the healers. Not just one, not two. All of them. Eli was carried into a large lodge, lit with dozens of flickering flames. The air was thick with the scent of sage, pine, resin, and winter earth. The elders formed a circle around him, their expressions solemn. Drums began to beat slow and steady, like a heartbeat. The young man's mother stepped forward, holding a bowl of steaming herbs. She placed her hand on Eli's forehead, chanting a prayer so old that even the mountains must have heard it first as whispers. For hours they worked, grinding roots, heating stones, pressing poultices over his wound, chanting, praying, calling on spirits whose names Eli didn't know, wrapping him in pelts, cooling his fever. Holding his hands when the pain surged like wildfire, he drifted in and out, sometimes seeing faces hovering above him, other times swirling in darkness. At one point he felt himself sinking into a cold void, his heartbeat slowing. But the chanting pulled him back, again and again, through the night, through the storms, through the fever that refused to break. It wasn't just healing, it was sacrifice. One of the elders collapsed from exhaustion, another cut markings into the earth around him. Symbols Eli didn't understand. They burned herbs so rare even the tribe treated them like treasure. He was witnessing something sacred, something meant to be seen only by chosen kin. By dawn, the fever cracked. By midday, Eli could breathe without agony. By evening, he could sit with help. The tribe had given him back his life piece by piece. Prayer by prayer, the young man he saved introduced himself as Tahoma. "Your medicine saved me," Tahoma said. "So my people give you ours. This secret healing. Outsiders know. Speak of it never." Eli nodded. "I reckon your secret's safe." The tribe sheltered him for weeks, feeding him, tending to his wounds, treating him like he belonged. Children laughed when he tried to speak their words. Elders smiled when he helped chop wood, even though he wobbled like a newborn foal. Tahoma walked at his side each day, teaching him stories of the land, the rivers, the old spirits, and the responsibility of protecting life. One night around the fire, Tahoma said, "You gave what you needed most. My people honored that." But Eli shook his head. "I only did what any man ought to." Tahoma placed a hand on his chest. "No, you did what a good man does." When Eli was finally strong enough to return home, the entire tribe gathered. The chief stepped forward and placed a carved bone pendant around Eli's neck, symbol of the tribe's eternal gratitude, a bond stronger than blood. "Where you go," the chief said, "our spirits walk with you." Eli swallowed hard. He wanted to say 1,000 things, but managed only, "Thank you for my life." Tahoma smiled. "Now we are brothers," Eli rode out that morning, leaving the camp behind him as the sun rose over snow-covered fields. He never told anyone what truly happened in that lodge. Some things are meant to stay sacred, some gifts too pure to be spoken aloud, but every sunrise after that, Eli touched the pendant at his chest and whispered a prayer he learned from the tribe. Not asking for anything, just thanking them for a life he shouldn't have had, and for reminding him that one act of selflessness can echo across hearts, across cultures, and across generations. It was a secret he carried with honor, a secret that healed more than his wounds. It healed his soul.